today was wild as fudge. Censoring myself there. But obviously, we got into the line of the check-in, and a guy in front of us goes, "Is this you?" and shows me a video of me dancing with one of the tribes. And it was me.
Nice.
So, and he got it sent from someone else. So someone else has sent around a video of me dancing. And, it was me. I may or may not be famous in Papua New Guinea from tribal dancing.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. It sounds that was well worth the trip just for that alone. So there you go.
Yeah. So that happened, and then the next thing, which is going to be so crazy once I start posting my stuff, it's going to be wild as hell. So we met this guy who's a cop. The first day, we hang out with these cops and they show us around. And basically, we booked the cheapest tour to where we are, which is still expensive as hell, like over $500 a day. But we go to this place, right? And they supposedly booked all this stuff. They hadn't actually booked it. We met this other German family that hadn't been booked on their thing, and they'd spent over $50,000 US. And basically, they traveled for the whole month, and everywhere they went, nothing happened the way they were supposed to. The one of the tour guides in one of the places they went to even just dropped them at a random place that wasn't where they were supposed to. So, in the middle of absolute nowhere in Papua New Guinea, they took them to a random village that wasn't the village that was meant to be, and was just like, "Here you are." And they found, because they had this GPS tracker that showed them where they were, and they had this advanced GPS tracker that showed their coordinates, and that was the only way they were able to know that they weren't where they were meant to be. So they were like that. And then when they checked in, none of the stuff was what it was meant to be and whatever. So they were the only people on the same tour as us. So anyway, so we're supposed to have guides for where we're going. We rock up to this festival with all these tribes. We have no guide. The hotel, we also had one meal instead of having two meals when there's two of us. And anyway, the hotel manager was like, he took us and drove us personally to the place. And then he's like, at one point, the German family asked to buy drinks, and luckily we were with them, because basically the head of police was like, "Yeah, these cops will take you." So we go up the cops and we go up them, and we go out. We're in this barbed wire enclosed section, and we go out into the part past the barbed wire fence, so into the locals where it's not safe to go. And we go in there. And then these cops, they take us around, and they're like, we start talking to them. And basically, you start talking about sport, and this is my theory on everything. You start talking about sport and gambling on sport, and people love it. And that is how you win over the locals. Wherever you are in the world, if you ask them how to gamble on their local sport, they treat you like a god. So anyway, so we go in there, and we're out where no one's meant to be. And we're I buy a Coke even though I don't want a Coke for 80 cents. And anyway, so we're with the cops, we're talking, whatever. We go around. The German family go back into where the barbed wire stuff is, and they walk off on their own like morons. But in any event, they were nice people, but still, they didn't quite get the same treatment we did. So anyway, we start talking to the cops, and we befriend the cops. And they basically set everything up the whole way we're going. And they're they were thanking us because they would have had to stand around and just basically be guards, security guards the whole time. And all their colleagues were jealous because they just had to stand around and do nothing, whereas these two guys got to speak to us and got to go around, and they got to go talk to all the tribes and set up things and whatever. So we go around, we go dance with the tribes, and I'm getting involved in everything. And so me dancing with one of the tribes, I got involved in one of their parades. So, like, I was a part of their official presentation, which is what they're judged on, and it's me dancing with all these tribes. And so they get judged on basically me dancing with them. But yeah, so everyone is on one side of the thing, and some people who are lucky are on the other side of the fence. But they're all on the left side. We were on the right side, so we were on the inside of everything, and we're the only foreign people on the inside. Everyone else is a tribal person or us on the inside.
Wow.
So, and then we go around and we go dancing and whatever, and we're like talking to them all and all this kind of stuff. So that was the first day. And so then there's a second day, which is basically all the same thing, but in the same thing. So in the same place. But so we go back the second day and we meet the cops again. And because I won't say what happened, but maybe we tipped them, maybe we didn't. I don't know if that's legal. Whatever. Hypothetically, someone would have tipped them. Maybe we did, maybe we didn't. I would not say. But in any event, so we come back the second day, and the main cop guy, he told us he was meant to be on traffic duty checking if people coming in had tickets, but he snuck off and came to find us. So we go and find him, right? And then he's like on the edge of the thing, and we start talking to him. And also the power just dropped out right now because it's blackout, and that's the way the thing is. And on my screen, I can see my teeth moving, and that's about it.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening on your end, but I see my teeth moving.
Yeah, so I can see you like it's like a paranormal investigation type of thing.
So the power drops in and out everywhere, and they have generators, but at some point the power will kick back in, and there we go.
There we go. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, there we go. So yeah. At some point, I start asking this guy about his wife and whatever. So he tells me he has 100 wives.
Wow.
And it's very easy to say, well, I call cap on that. That's bullshit. And very easy, anyone could do it. But I start asking him about it, and then like asking him about how he deals with jealousy and how he does whatever. So he explains in detail about, I have these different places that they sleep, and I sleep in my own place. The women all sleep in their places, and they have to go and work, and they basically earn money, and then it comes back to me, and then I distribute the money as an allowance.
Oh. But
then at another point, these women are dancing, and they're all dancing in a circle. And I ask what's going on, and the other cop says, "Oh, this is their way of dancing. What they're singing is actually that I'm not married and I want to meet a husband." And then we see this cop, the other cop, come, and he picks up a headband thing of one of the girls, and he's putting on the girl, and the mother's there. And then he comes back over and he's like, "What do you want?" And he's like, "Six on me." And he's like, "Yeah, I met wife 101. And it was, just wild as hell. And the other cop was like, "Yeah, I met my fifth wife over there. She's sleeping in my place right now," and all this kind of stuff. And then meanwhile, I'm telling them all, like, "You are the Andrew Tate of the PNG, and this is the Tinder of meeting women in PNG." So I'm getting all this stuff on video. And they're like, "Yeah, and like they're all crazy and whatever." Multiple people invited us back to come back and stay at their huts next time. The head of police, who also his family owns multiple hotels in that area, was like, "I have a multiple story modern house. You guys come back here. We go hunting pigs and all this kind of stuff. You come back. Here's my number. We go do it, whatever." And he's like, "Yeah, you guys come back next year," and we do it. Everyone just assumes that we're coming back next year. They're taking us out. So everything's like a barbed wire fence. But these cops take us to the other side of the barbed wire fence, and we're the only people that go there. And when we came back on the first day, there were these Australians who were like, we were so concerned for you guys because you guys were out there and amongst the people and we were worried about what was going to happen. But then even the cops were telling us that on the first day, they couldn't even contain it. And like, they had no power over what was going on once the music started playing. Because like after the festival and the tribal people started playing, they started doing all their dances. There was a band that started playing, and apparently once the band started playing, they go crazy and all like extreme versions of mocking, but not just mocking, like beating the shit out of each other over tribal warfare. Basically, they're like, oh yeah, after that happens, you guys are like, it stops. Now, we were unlucky that the second day, the German family were there, and we were out and we were hanging and we went shopping at while like after the tribal thing had all finished. And the hotel were actually scared for us, and the hotel were like, you guys have to leave right now. And the German family was sitting in the car. We were out in the like the regular people thing where like the regular Papua New Guinean people would be, and we were like shopping and whatever, and like where the darts and the like illegal gambling, but even though we're the cops, they were all cool with it. Like we're in that section. And then like, yeah, the hotel security, like, you guys have to go. Otherwise, and also, like, anytime they would open the gate to let cars in, people would try to rush through, and the security would literally with a stick would be beating people back, like, stay back behind the stick. All of this on footage. So, like, there's none of this is made up. Like, I can actually 100% prove all of this. Like, cool. Yeah, it's just wow. So all of that happened. But yeah, we had to leave because of the German family. Like, if it was up to me, I'd have stayed another hour and let mayhem consume. And like, we were on the other side of the barbed wire fence. Like, what's the worst that could happen, right? We were with the police. We had because we got screwed over by this tour company that didn't actually provide a tour guide. We actually got the police as our tour guides. So we had like the absolute utmost highest level of security, and yeah, we were completely fine. But yeah, that happened. So then, fast forward to today. Today, we go to the airport and we're waiting to check in, and we're waiting in the bag check. And the person at the front of the line who's waiting for bags to check in is like, "Hey, is this you?" And he shows a video, and it's a video that his friend took of me dancing with one of the tribes. So like, people in Papua New Guinea are sharing videos of me dancing with tribes, and people are coming up to me saying, "Hey, is this you?"
Brilliant.
So I don't mean to say that I'm like a celebrity in Papua New Guinea, but you know, that's pretty much. Yeah.
It was bound to happen, you know. One way or the other, good or bad, it was going to happen.
That's why I post my video. So yeah, that happened. Then we go into the airport, right? So we check our bags in, and we paid like extra for some extra baggage. And the guy who's checking us in, he's like, "Oh, you guys are gonna carry this third bag in?" And we're like, "No." I said, "No. I paid for that." And he's like, "Oh, okay," and just put it through. I think there was nothing checking what we'd done, and he was just like, he just relied on our word that we'd actually paid for it, which I think he did, but like, he didn't seem to have any knowledge of the fact that we'd actually paid for extra baggage. Then we go to the like carry-on check-in, and so we go to walk through, right? And the guy takes our bags, and he's like, "Oh, the conveyor belt thing, metal detector is broken." So we walk through the metal detector, but our bags, he literally picks up at the front, walks it around to the back, and he's like, "Here you go." So nothing checked our carry-on bag. So anything could be in our carry-on bag, nothing checked it at all.
Wow, that's crazy.
And that's not even the greatest thing. So the greatest thing, which again was all of this is a massive test to not send it to you because this is wild as fuck, right? So I go into the toilet. So another thing that I found interesting is just going to the toilet, you see like wild shit in the toilets, right? The toilet, there was a sign, literally says, do not use your mask as toilet tissue. Throw it out. So basically, your used mask is not toilet paper. It's rubbish.
All right, yeah, that's good advice. Yeah, I think I haven't seen anyone else saying that, so I'm glad they clarified.
And because they were saying it, I'm coming to Ireland right now, and I'm going to be using my mask with toilet paper.
I mean, you might get some funny looks. That's okay. Yeah. It'll be a fun time. That's of all the PSAs I've seen about masks, that was never on any of them. So, they're way ahead.
Exactly. Where else in the world are they up to date with the fact that you can't use a mask as toilet paper? You tell me where in the world is advanced as Papua New Guinea to say that masks are not toilet paper?
I think they're clearly way ahead of the rest of the world. So, they've done a good job there.
Yeah. So for that, I say Papua New Guinea, number one in the world.
Number one in the world at not using your face mask as a toilet paper. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been wiping my ass with my mask everywhere else in the world, and no one has said, no one is supposed to say. I've been using it, because.
If only people had told you.
Yeah. Exactly. No one bothered to say. No one educated me on this. The other thing is that, so I asked the police officer, have you heard of Tim Dillon and his podcast? And he was talking about Papua New Guinea. He's like, yeah, I listened to the podcast. He's a good friend of mine. Oh. Like, I have no idea what the hell he's talking about. He said he's a good friend of his, which I strongly doubt, but whatever. But I asked the shuttle driver today here, and he's like, yeah, all the security in the hotel have been discussing this. I'm like, oh wow, you've actually heard of it? And he seemed to not understand what I was talking about, but yeah. But then we went to so today we actually went to the mall.
Cool. Which
is way out. Like, so we go around the mall and the guy's like, oh yeah, I'll pick you up in 2 hours. And the mall was like small as hell and there was nothing there. So 2 hours, we basically had done it in 45 minutes and we had to kill an hour and 15. So firstly, we went to Big Rooster Chicken, which was an interesting place. But then we went to Craic, K-U-K, chips.
Okay.
But yeah, I got some Craic chips. So I got Craic as the fries.
Yeah, makes sense.
Which actually reminds me that one of the tribes is from an area called Cum, K-U-M. And so on their backs, literally, the women had written on their backs, Cum Cops, K-U-M-K-O-P-S.
There's a whole series in that right there. Just that name.
Yeah. So then today we're going around this mall and basically, so we go around the mall, the shuttle guy from the hotel comes and picks us up. And then as we're driving out of the mall, on the border of the wall of the mall. So if you remember, I sent you a news article about 2 people getting stabbed with machetes, right?
Yep.
That was literally on the outside of the mall. Look at these shuttles riding right there. That's where that happened right there. That stuff's there for 2 hours. It's like, oh yeah. That happened right there.
Wow. Fucking hell.
And we'd been done with that mall for like, at least, we waited outside for 45 minutes, and even half an hour of that was me getting Big Rooster and getting cum chips. Cock chips, sorry. And yeah, and then the guy's like, oh yeah, that election stuff happened right there.
Wow.
Like that stuff, literally, the wall that happened was the wall to the mall. That was the parking lot of the mall on the other side.
Wow. That's where they take you. Fucking hell.
Yeah. And they're like, oh yeah, no, you're completely safe there, whatever, yeah. Right? But it turns out like all the violence is generally, what we've learned about here is that all the violence is about tribal stuff. So the police were even telling us that like they cannot arrest someone because if they arrest someone, then the tribe will come and they'll say, you guys are doing the wrong thing, and then blah, 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 and the whole tribe will go crazy about them. And where we were was fine, but it turns out like a day before, less than an hour away from where we were, they burnt down half of the city because there was a tribal violence over the election. And then they were even saying like they burnt down a plane on the runway.
What?
As a result of this. And both airports we flew into had burnt out planes on the runway. So.
All right, cool. It's exactly what you want to see.
Yeah. You know, just regular stuff. Now we went to the other weird thing here is that like it's really hard to get cash out at ATMs. They're all out of money for whatever reason. Yeah. So we went to one shopping center where we were, and there was basically one security guard per car at this shopping center. So it's like military grade, like barbed wire off in this shopping center. And then every car, there was one security guard walking around per car.
Wow. And
as we were turning in, there was a guy who went like that, hands like that, like he was shooting at us. And unfortunately, I only caught the guy after he did that. But like, I caught the guy, but didn't catch him doing the action. So it sounds like I'm making it up, but like we did legitimately see the guy go like that, like directly at us. But everyone else was like super friendly, and even in the things, and like we were hanging out with like the security and whatever. And yeah, they were all like, "Oh yeah, it's fine." But that festival we went to, they were like basically, even the police were like, "Yeah, we had no control over this." And it was only because it rained that it stopped everything. Where we were was like, they were on that. So basically, like there's a tribal dance on the rugby field. And like you go around the rugby field, and that's where we were. But once it finished, there was a band playing. Okay. And once the band started playing, they like locked the gates. But anyone could come into the rugby field from the outside, and even like where they were locked out normally, there were holes under the fence, so anyone could come in. They were running in, and we got footage of them running in. But where we were was like completely barbed wired off and whatever.
Yeah.
So like behind the stage, and basically on the rugby field, the cops were saying they had no control over it. They could not do anything about it. And like, they just had to let it go.
Wow. And this is like, where like people beating the shit out of each other in the big, like mush.
Tribal warfare. Literally tribal warfare. Like, your grandfather beat the shit out of my grandfather, so I'm going to beat the shit out of you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, cool.
But the annoying thing is we could have watched that, but the other people wanted to go back, and the hotel were like scared. But we walked out through it. So, like slightly before that, we walked through it. There was like a tent area, and there was a guy completely passed out, like completely brain dead, like emotionless to everything. His friends are like pissing themselves laughing, and they're pulling the guy out to us, and we went over and looked at him, and he's like completely out of it. And yeah, we're like filming him and whatever. And then the cops like, oh yeah, you guys should probably move on, whatever. Like, I think they were like, they didn't want to highlight the fact that, like, yeah, how bad it was.
Sure.
I think the cops were like so into highlighting, like, they were so into themselves that they were down to show like how they like had multiple wives and all this kind of shit, and like, yeah.
What was the deal? You said like to buy a wife was like 20. You had to buy 20 pigs or something.
Yeah, so before those 2 days, we went on another show that was like kind of put on as a thing for tourists. And yeah, the tour guide was like, yeah, I bought my wife for 20 pigs. So then the next day, I'm talking to the cop, and the cop's kind of like down talking like, I don't have to pay bride price because I'm such a like legend. Basically, he's talking himself up. He's like, I have so much land, I don't have to buy bride price. They have to go work for me. And so, yeah, I don't pay bride price. They have to prove themselves to me. And, yeah, he was the one who was like 100 wives and then pulled 101 while we were there. And legitimately, like, we were almost cockblocking him by filming it. The woman, like, freaking out because we had the camera there doing whatever. And he's like, he's handling it like a pro. He's like, nah, these are my friends. These white people are my friends and whatever. Like, yeah.
Awesome. That's I can't wait to see the footage of all of this stuff, but it sounds really fucking epic. So
yeah. And my channel was actually starting to take off already, and I'm still in Vietnam footage. I haven't even got to the Philippines footage, and I'm at the point of like the PNG footage is so wild that I almost want to go Vietnam to PNG and then go to the Philippines stuff, because the PNG stuff is wild as crazy.
It sounds it, yeah, absolutely.
Even though like the Philippines stuff is wild as crazy as stuff too, but you know.
Yeah.
This Philippine stuff is like, but yeah, I kept pumping this cop up is like, you have to look up Andrew Tate because you are the Andrew Tate of PNG. And he's like, oh yeah, and he's like, oh, I wasn't educated or whatever and whatever. I'm like, no. You need to be selling courses on how to manage women and how to get these many wives, because you look at you. This guy's out here doing whatever. He's nothing compared to you. You are the PNG version of Andrew Tate.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, how to get 100 wives without paying the bride price. Sounds like a very popular course. I'd sign up for that.
And Andrew Tate's out here talking about how to have these women doing like OnlyFans and stuff and taking 50% cut. This guy's taking 100% cut, and then he gives them an allowance.
Guy.
Yeah, the thing is, we interviewed him for like an hour and a half, and we're like, so how do you manage like the jealousy and like, and I'm like, how do you like sleep with one of them and not have an issue? And he's like, well, basically what I have to do is I have to sneak in. So at the middle of the night, I have to sneak in. And so he has his own house that none of the women are allowed to sleep in. They all have their own house on his land. And he sneaks in the middle of the night, does his business, and then sneaks back out so no one knows what he's done.
Okay.
And he's like the jealousy angle and how to like manage all this stuff and whatever, and yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it sounds like a lot of work.
You literally have him picking up 101. So he's talking about 100, and then he literally picks up 101 in this dance thing where they're like dancing and begging for a husband, right? So basically, a whole group of women standing around dancing and like singing for "I Want to Meet a Husband," and then he goes. And I'm not even expecting any of this shit. Like, I don't even understand what's going on with the dancing. I'm like asking the other guy, "Oh yeah, what are they actually thinking about?" And then he's like, "Oh yeah, they're thinking about wanting to meet a husband." And then this guy is like, he's got the headband thing, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's the thing." And then he comes back over, he's like fist bumping me. He's like, "Yeah, that's 101."
I don't know, man. I think he's doing a lot of sneaking around, so his wives don't find out what he's doing with his other wives. So it's, sounds like a lot of hard work.
It is legitimately like, yeah. It's one thing for this guy to be like talking all this stuff, but then you actually see him in action, actually pulling one of them, and it's like, this guy actually rectified it. Like, even Andrew Tate, like, you don't even see Andrew Tate picking up a woman.
Yeah.
Like, he talks all this stuff and whatever, but there's no proof that he's ever met a woman.
True.
This guy, the PNG version of Andrew Tate, he's out there proving it.
There you go. Yeah, he's out there proving it. He's more legit than this other guy. So
exactly.
Yeah.
But Andrew Tate is the best thing online right now because he just got. Have you seen like the stuff about him?
No.
Okay. Well, he just got banned from Facebook. He was on Nalk podcast. He was on this, and like he was at Aiden Ross. I don't know if you know Aiden Ross.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Andrew Tate apparently made $100 million in the last year, just from research. So Andrew Tate basically came up with a way of affiliate marketing his own courses of Hustlers University, which is literally him talking into an iPhone.
Wow.
He's like an MMA fighter who didn't really make it, who then made all these courses of Hustlers University where because I know this is a massive like internet thing, I'm like, let's just start talking about this guy as the Andrew Tate of PNG.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like he is, though. In fairness,
he's like more legit than Andrew Tate.
Oh yeah, I just looked him up. Yeah, I've seen this guy a few times actually. Yeah, some of the things about him. So
out of nowhere in the last like 2 months, this guy is going everywhere, and literally like from 0 to 100 million in the last 2 months.
Yeah, and now we know this guy in PNG is like kicking his ass anyway.
Yeah, I mean, like, does fucking Andrew Tate have 100 wives? I don't think so.
No.
Does Andrew Tate have any proof of him meeting a woman? No. This guy, literally on camera, I have meeting him meeting 101.
Yeah, 101 is that's just wild numbers right there.
So let's just say that this guy made the whole thing up beforehand. This is his first wife. He literally is like a 60-year-old man missing a front tooth with a stick who's a cop who picked up a wife who is like 20. I mean, on camera, right? Like, that in and of itself.
Yeah. I think there's a high probability we can make this guy famous. And like everyone who goes to PNG be like looking for this guy. So
yeah. So yeah, I mean, the whole thing was just the wildest experience by far I've ever had. Even walking around the mall, like everyone's just like smiling and like hello and whatever, and
it sounds cool, but I mean, also to be like, well, that's where the machete attacks happened, just right there. Like that's all right. It's a good holiday.
Well, as I said to you, like So basically, you're allowed to have a machete if you are security, and you have to be able to prove that you're a security. But yeah, there's like heaps of randoms just walking along the street with machetes.
Yeah, that'd be a bit unnerving. All right, yeah, just me and my machete walking down the street.
This is literally the scariest place I've ever been, but realistically, I don't even think it's that scary. And like, I've spoken to these people, and I'm like, it seems scary, and it looks scary, and it'd be very easy to make a video of like, this is the scariest place on earth. But when you walk around, it's not that scary.
I don't know. It sounds. I mean, I can't wait to see all the footage and everything, but it does sound like you're having a great time there at the same time. So it can't be that scary.
So the other thing is, remember when our friend Rich passed out for like 3 days because he took a random thing, right?
Yeah.
So what he took is called betel nut, and let me just find for you. There is literally in the hotel room a sign that goes along with the no smoking that says no taking of the. This doesn't appear to. There we go. Thank you for not smoking. No betel nut. Right, everywhere you go, it says no betel nut chewing.
Wow. Yeah, we know why, because
that Rich took.
Yeah, well, it's good advice.
Right, so I'll let you describe how it affected Rich. How would you say it affected Rich?
I've never seen anybody as close to death as I've seen. Like he just, because we were like getting up and going places like early in the morning, and he was just like, we would ask him, was he coming with us? And he was like, no. And then we went back later in the evening, and he was like still in bed, hadn't fucking moved. And that was just the same for like 3 days, 3 days straight. Yeah. And then, yeah, it was just crazy.
So what if I told you it was described to me as basically the same as drinking like 5 cappuccinos? Like, it's basically just like taking a stimulant that's like drinking like multiple energy drinks, like having 5 V's or 5 Red Bulls. Like it's not like some like hardcore drug. It's like just some like caffeine stimulant, right? And so that's what Rich essentially took, and he was passed out for 3 days. But the reality of it is, so firstly, I mean, it does mess up their teeth and whatever, and they have to spit out all this red stuff. And
yeah.
But other than that, it's basically just like a hardcore stimulant of caffeine.
I don't know. It didn't stimulate Rich very much, and just
yeah,
fucking floored him for 3 days.
But basically, it's illegal, but they sell it everywhere. And we were the cop who went and bought cigarettes from a place that was selling betel nut, right? But then the next day, we were the cop who has like his whole teeth. It's kind of like meth in the fact that it messes up your teeth. Like you can see from someone's teeth that they've taken betel nut, and a lot of people here have. So we just like had a police who like has all his teeth like messed up from betel nut.
Nice. Well, maybe after your first time taking it, you're out for 3 days, and then after that, you're like, it's fine. You can just be walking around with the betel nut. But yeah, my thought would be, yeah, don't touch that. It nearly killed Rich. But there you go.
Yeah. Maybe next time you're like, don't do it so hard. But that's Rich, and
he must have done it really hard because like it was really fucking hot where we were as well, and he didn't move. He just stayed in the one place, in one position for like 3 days. So,
that's Rich for you, so
yeah, there you go. Good old Rich.
Yeah, the entertaining person that he is.
Interesting. Yeah, well, if you can buy it in the same place you're buying cigarettes, it must be pretty widespread. So
No, it's literally everywhere here. And like to the extent that they literally have it in everything to say like no chewing, and even in the hotel, no betel nut chewing. Literally everywhere you go here, it says no betel nut chewing.
wow. That's
But everywhere you go, people are doing it, so
there you go. Yeah. Nothing like to get people to do something and put up a sign saying don't do it. But it's like the most counterproductive thing you can do. But that's wild, man. Like if you just said, "Oh, people are doing this everywhere," like they just do nothing for 3 days if they do. That's what I would have thought, having that experience. But there you go.
No, they're more like, oh yeah, I'm on like I drank 3 Red Bulls and therefore I'm excited.
Wow. There you go.
And yeah, that's the standard experience, but somehow certain people have different experiences.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, kind of like this first story of a rugby player captured smoking a cigarette in the middle of a match.
Say what?
So a video of a rugby player has got over 600,000 views in Australia, actually, at Queensland's Sunshine Coast, according to Daily Mail Australia. A woman in the background can be heard saying he's got a dart in his mouth as she fails to contain her laughter. He even has the cheek to hold his hands up in protest to the referee as he walks backwards, puffing away.
That's one of those things that could probably only happen in Australia. Like that is not something I've seen anywhere else in the world. But
you wait, it'll happen. Like even if I have to get a Faroe Island rugby. There's a video of this guy actually walking away from a scrum with a cigarette in his hand.
Where did he get it from? Like, did he take it from someone in the crowd, or what's going on?
I think he was just smoking, and then the game started, and not much you can do.
There you go. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, it's up there with the next guy who a comedian who was he was cancelled during the Edinburgh Fringe. And can you guess what he was cancelled for?
It's cancelled for all sorts these days, but I'm going to say for trying to pick up his 101st wife.
He wishes. He certainly wouldn't get cancelled out this way for that.
No, it sounds not. I don't know. Let's say for chewing betel nut on stage.
Nah, that's a bit tame. So Jerry Sandowitz has had his second show at the Edinburgh Fringe cancelled after getting his penis out on stage.
I mean, there's no law against that. It's a part of the show, so.
It's literally a law against it. It's even a law out here. And the guys where the guy was walking around with the penis sheath thing, the cops were literally saying, they're like, this is against the law. And like, we actually have to enforce this law out in the tribes.
Yeah, that one I can understand. But so this dude just whipped the junk out on the stage, and it wasn't like part of the show. It wasn't like I'm going to be naked show. Is that like, was he trying to get a laugh? Like, hey, look at this thing, and everyone's going to laugh at it, or what's going on?
The 60-year-old comedian exposed himself on Saturday, taking out his penis in front of a woman sitting on the front row as part of his performance entitled "Not for Anyone." So he's known for incorporating magic in his routine, as well as black comedy / dark sense of humor. And the audience are warned prior that the set could contain strong language and themes some may find distressing.
Sounds like quite a few were distressed by the sight of his penis. So
one witness said he got his penis out to a woman in the front row. The problem was not the audience. I knew he was an acquired taste. It was his indefensible content.
Oh, okay.
He did, look, I mean, this is a bit hard to defend. He did say the economy was awful because it is run by blacks and women.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of defending you can do there on that one, but I don't know why that leads to you taking your penis out. And
I mean, it is a weird comment to say, just in general.
Yeah, you know, especially during a show. Yeah.
Yeah, Amir Jawali commented on the story, saying that he was unable to sleep after hearing the news as he was lightheaded with laughter. He said, second show cancelled. So it is important to mention that Amir Jawali, I think, is he's definitely Muslim, I believe. I'm going to look at his Twitter profile to see before I say more, but he's definitely Muslim. In any event, he said, second show cancelled at the Fringe because in the first show he got his dick out, called Rishi Sunak a prick, and said the economy was awful because it's run by blacks and women in a show called Not for Anyone, and now unable to sleep, lightheaded with laughter. I've seen many Sandalwood shows over the years, and he's universally acknowledged as one of the greatest magicians out there. His tour is going to be rammed, and knowing him, he'll say he's brilliant. He made his second show at the Fringe disappear before his very eyes.
Yeah, that's one way of rationalizing it. But yeah, I mean, look, calling an individual a prick, that's fine. But like, yeah, sweeping statements against other groups is probably not the best thing to do in a show. Like calling out a politician, that's fine. But yeah, I don't know. I still don't know why he got his idea. I'll just pull my dick out. Just like it'll be funny. Or maybe that was
you just pull your dick out. It's like,
yeah, just now for the part of the show where I just pull my dick out. So, you know, sooner or later this podcast is going to get to that. We're just going to be like, fuck it, we need views. Pull our dicks out.
I mean, it's only a matter of time until we do get to that level of degeneracy.
Yeah, sadly.
I mean, happily, I think is the right term, but you know, whatever. Some of us are weak.
Depends what time of the day it is, and how many drinks you've had. So, so it's purely coffee in my cup at the minute. So it's not. It's later on.
Me too. At the minute, I mean, I've only had right now. I am only drinking coffee at this moment in time. Therefore, well, a mum reveals why you should never go on holiday for 2 weeks, and people agree. So can you guess why you should only ever go on holiday for 2 weeks?
Why you should only go for 2 weeks? Just to get a good suntan. I don't know. I have no idea. Just all holidays.
A limited chance of getting monkeypox or AIDS, but you know, whatever.
I mean, yeah, that's one thing. That's one reason. But yeah, I don't know. There's lots of reasons to go for 2 weeks or longer, whatever.
Well, she said every single time we go on a European sun/beach/villa/complex type holiday, we book it for 14 days, and every single time I get to about day 10, and I'm fed up and want to be at home.
Okay.
She said that while there is nothing to complain about, a few days at home in my own bed before going back to work, I never feel like this is on far-flung holidays with a packed itinerary, etc. And holidays are always a few years between, so I obviously forget and get all giddy with the booking.
So the problem there sounds like she's arriving home the night before having to go to work the next day. That's just bad planning. So
the problem sounds like she's a loser who needs to get a better life.
I mean, there's that. Yeah, you could put it that way. It's like, imagine putting that story out and like you see the first response you see to it is she's a fucking loser who needs to get a life. She's like, oh,
where it's at. Get rid of you kids.
Yeah.
Get a divorce. Find a new guy in Spain, and you're all good.
Yeah, sounds like a plan to me. So
it's about right to find a new man, get laid in Spain, and enjoy your relationship before you get bored. Then go back and pretend like nothing ever happened.
That's one way of doing it, for sure. This is the new course we're planning. How to improve your life and not be a loser.
How to improve your life as a mother and not be a loser. 10 days on holiday. You find a new Spanish man. Meet you where it's right. Then you have 3 days to come back home and beg for forgiveness to your husband. Pretend like nothing ever happened.
This has been fully endorsed by all the Spanish men who want to just get some ladies over for 10 days.
The PNG cops who are looking for wife number 102. They fully endorse this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they got the land for it, and
they just need 10 feet, and we're all good.
Yeah.
She says, taking 2 weeks off work, could leisurely pack rather than racing to the airport. We'll get home and have time to unpack, do laundry, get prepared for back to work. Also saves a bit on accommodation and food. 10 days is perfect.
I mean, just seems like she's not planning very well and being a bit...
To enjoy the included drinks at the resort and get shit-faced on day 14 and, struggle back to work.
Yeah, it's one day being on a beach or a resort or whatever it is you're doing, and then the next day you're back in your cubicle in your office. You're going to feel shitty about that no matter what happens. So
you may as well be hungover on 17 resort beers while you can.
Yeah.
You paid for it already, so make the most of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, people are clearly doing their return to work from holidays wrong. Better yet, get a job where you don't have to go into the office, do work from home, and then just pretend that you're at work. Log in the morning, just be like chill. I mean, I don't do that, but there are people who could do that,
Yeah, there are some people who might do that. We would never do that because we're upstanding citizens who work very hard. And do not overindulge at the 2-hour open drinks.
No, we wouldn't do that. We wouldn't do that at all.
No. We would not order 4 drinks at the end because we did our last shopping. But hypothetically,
I mean, sounds like something we might do, but
hypothetically, us in another universe might do that.
Yeah, hypothetically, if the chance arose. But there you go.
We may or may not have gotten the lift with U.S. military people who were jealous of the fact that we were on that level and were able to drink to excess and get a few final drinks in while they could not. Hypothetically.
Hypothetically, of course.
Yeah. Well, a man was forced to spend his dream £2,500 TUI holiday alone as his girlfriend was deported.
All right. Why was she deported?
Well, they were on a trip of their lifetime to Cancun, but she had to return to Scotland with no money and without keys to their home. She's a Brazilian national and was therefore required to apply for a separate visa to gain entry to Mexico. Now, That does seem kind of like she should have known this before, and she should probably, I'm just going to go on a limb and say, it's not a stretch to say you should probably slightly know what country you're from. Just a little bit. Like,
yeah, I'd go along with that. I think that's fair.
That's kind of the basics. Like, you just need to slightly understand what country you live in.
Yeah, what country are you from? Oh, tough questions.
What country is your passport from?
Ooh,
I mean, you tried to pass off as Ugandan many a time, right?
No comment.
I think you can get away with it once or twice, but you can't expect every time you go to the US for them to see you and go, yep, this guy is from Uganda, and not ask a single question.
I think I look exactly like everybody from Uganda. The most Ugandan looking person in the world, I think. So,
Yeah. I mean, you drink great beer. What's the number one beer in Uganda? Just remind me off the top of your head.
I think it's Guinness. So, pretty sure.
Yeah. You got to be in the top 10.
Yeah, right. So,
I mean, they probably don't serve it in most of Uganda, but whatever. There should be a highest pub somewhere in Uganda that says
guaranteed you'll see a sign for it somewhere. So
I literally I would not accept guaranteed. There is no way that is guaranteed. In fact, I would say there is no chance that it's guaranteed that in Papua New Guinea there is a place that even sells Guinness, let alone has a sign for Guinness.
Hey, if they got Heineken, they're going to have Guinness somewhere. All right, so...
No. There is a very good chance that there isn't.
All right, yeah. Maybe in Papua New Guinea there's no Guinness, but somewhere else, In
Uganda, definitely.
Uganda for sure. Yeah, for sure.
So they're saying that she should never be able to board that flight with her Brazilian passport and the incorrect documents. We arrived in Cancun buzzing for our holiday, but when I arrived at baggage claim, I realized I'd lost her. Now, maybe some point before baggage claim, you should know if your partner is with you.
Yeah, that's usually well before that.
Usually, you walk out of the plane together.
That's right. So,
at that point, if you haven't walked off the plane together, maybe that's a problem.
I would think so. Yeah, I would think. But like by the time you get up to, the customs check or whatever, where they check your passport and stuff, you by then you'd definitely be like, hey, where's that lady who was sitting beside me all the way to Mexico?
Who I may or may not have sniffed on the plane. Well, he says, I went back to look for her, but the immigration officers refused to let me walk back through passport control. Now, maybe you don't want to go past passport control on your own. Maybe you want to maybe look at your partner.
I think at that point, yeah, you've got to be looking out for your other person. So
they eventually agreed to let me look for her. And when they came back, they said she was being sent home for having the wrong visa. I tried to say I was flying home with her, but they said that was impossible as I'd already entered the country. They wouldn't even let me see her before she left, and I had all our credit cards and our house keys. It was ludicrous. Whoops, I just...
So then I had to chill on the beach for 2 weeks without her and met loads of other women.
I had to buy Ladies of the Evening to entertain myself. Well, what else was I going to do?
I mean, yeah, that's only the most sensible thing to do. So I feel like it was the passport control officer's fault.
Well, it was their fault that she has anxiety and had a panic attack on the flight home, resulting in her needing medical attention. And when she got back, no family members were available at such short notice to collect her, so she had to get her own hotel entirely at her expense. All in all, they spent £2,500 on the holiday, plus the extra costs for accommodation in Scotland and takeouts that she was forced to order.
I mean, it just sounds like she had her own little holiday in Scotland, though.
Where she lives.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you have to holiday at home and you have to order expensive McDonald's Big Macs, 5 meals for yourself.
I'm sure she had her fun too. Ordering room service and the movies that were on the TV. She was free for those 2 weeks as well. So
yeah, she got to expense the dirty channels on TV that many of us have to watch scrambled.
It's part of growing up. But she, definitely look at if you're traveling somewhere, it's important to check that you have all the necessary visas and stuff. That's otherwise
it's
that's
a bit hard to say. Ugandan Airlines did not get me the visa I needed for Uganda.
I feel like these people are the kind who get up to the security thing and then they start emptying their pockets and taking their belts. Like, stop, just get all that shit ready before you get there. Stop holding me up, you fuckers. Anyway, the whole other...
or, get the right visa. Yeah. Or get a visa.
Just get a visa. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's like, I'm flying Uganda, but I'm going to get a South African visa. Well, at least that's something. We've started the process. You're never flying to South Africa, but let's get a visa for that.
Exactly, yeah. Have you got a visa? I do, not for this country. Somewhere else. I got a visa, so I'm a good person.
I have a visa for the USA, so, I should be able to go to Thailand for free. North Korea, yeah, that's fine. I have a Thailand visa, so, North Korea, Thailand, close enough.
Somehow it all makes sense to some people.
Yeah. Korea, Vietnam, basically the same country, as I've always said. So
they're both in Asia, so one Asian visa should do the trick for all the countries, right?
Visa for Asia. Which country? No. Asia. So
I feel like there's definitely a scammy business opportunity to put up like visas. You can just buy an Asian visa, $99. You go any country in Asia. People would sign up to that all day long. So
it doesn't matter if it's North Korea or I don't know, China. All the same.
All of the Asian countries covered by this one visa. However, you do have to get the upgraded one in order to actually, get out of the country again. So
you do have to sleep with a gay man who may or may not be inserting himself into you, but you get a visa.
Interesting.
It's a new visa.
It's an extra perk of your visa. Well done.
You do have to accept monkeypox, but
you won't be the only one, so it's fine.
Now, have you ever had a bad date that didn't quite end the way you expected?
I mean, yeah, a couple of times. Just
maybe your own accord, perhaps.
I couldn't possibly comment on that, but yeah, I think it's happened. Maybe once or twice.
Have you, I don't know, maybe ever gone on a date, invited the girl to your house, and then gone to your own bed and fallen asleep?
I mean, eventually, yeah, that's happened. But that's fine. That so far it doesn't sound like such a wacky adventure. What's gone on here? I presume somebody has fallen into bad times over this.
Well, this article reads, I'm quite a boring person. Met this guy online. He's very similar to me in many ways. Probably not in the sleeping / adult ways. But anyway, he's naturally we talked. He didn't talk to others after, in brackets, that's what he said, me too. We are okay with each other not replying when busy and aren't needy too. So it sounds like quite the match. In brackets, had our fair share of clingy people, are both single for damn long before this. However, it's been almost a year since we talked. We went out for meals, movies, and such. Not much other activities. When I suggest do something else or send him some food places, he would reply, looks expensive, while he splurges his money on useless things. Now, you sound like a judgmental bitch who should probably focus on your own life and not be worrying about what a guy spends on his own life.
Yeah, as I mean, she sees these sex dolls as useless, but he quite enjoys his collection of useful sex dolls and such.
All ladies of the evening who may be expensive to some, but maybe
life experiences right there. You see?
Yeah. Better performance, as I like to call them. Performance enhancers, performance enhancing drugs. Without the drug side of it.
Yeah.
So when I suggest to do something else or send him some food places, he replies, it looks expensive. Meanwhile, he doesn't further activities except for geoing me for activities like his sports where he plays, which I don't really fancy playing, or like going to his house to sleep where he really just sleeps, which I'm like, I can just sleep at my own house. I don't even know what's our relationship now. Are we exclusive in getting to know each other, or are we still single? It's been already around a year like this, and I'm already 29 this year. Should I move on? He's a really nice guy, though.
I think he needs to get a big sign for his bedroom when she comes over to sleep that says, I'm not interested. And just like one of those flashy neon signs, because he clearly has no interest in anything else with this lady.
Well, I think he may or may not be into the ladies, would be my thing.
That's
so
true.
You're inviting women over to sleep and just to sleep. Like,
maybe he just never got the birds and the bees talk, and he's like, oh yeah, let's come over and sleep together. And he's going into work the next day. He's like, I slept with this girl last night. It was awesome. Got a full 8 hours. He just doesn't understand what he's supposed to do. That's fine. No shame in that.
You being there, you.
I mean, I'm still there. So just go to sleep and yeah. That works, right?
I think either that or you just make the first move and find out what happens.
I mean, that's the other thing. Yeah, if she's just sitting there waiting for him, he's probably waiting for her, and he's probably got an alternative blog post or whatever, posts whatever it is, saying, "Oh, what do I do? This girl keeps coming over and actually going to sleep." So yeah, make the first move, and then you'll know for sure. And then you can cry about it for a month when you find out he's not into the ladies anyway. So,
well, there we go. From experience.
Absolutely.
And who's been known to sleep and just fall asleep with women.
Sometimes you just got to go sleep. It's late, So Yeah.
Well, on that note, it is getting late, so I think until next week.
Cool.
Sleep.
Cool.